If you are on F1 visa or H1B visa, J1 visa, L1 visa or any non-immigrant visa and you're trying to figure out what are some legal ways to make passive income, this video is going to cover exactly that. Let's go. Hey, what's up everyone? Last week I made this video where I talked about the things you cannot do legally to make side income. But in this video, I want to give you options, what you can actually do if you are on non-immigrant visas or like F1 visa, H1B visa, and so on. Disclaimer before we get to the next part, I'm not an immigration lawyer. So if you want to do any of this, please consider hiring an immigration lawyer for an actual advice. Also, I'm not going to tell you what to do. I'm going to have an immigration lawyer who's going to tell you exactly if you can do or cannot do. Here we go. Number one is real estate. You can absolutely buy a property, like it can be apartment, condo, townhouse, and you can put that into rental. You can have two types of rental, long-term rental and short-term rental. We'll talk about first long-term rental. Long-term rental is something where you buy it and you have a renter for 6 months or a yearly basis. It's not like changing frequently. That's a long-term rental. Can you do this legally? Here's what my lawyer said.
Yeah, that shouldn't be a problem. If we're talking about the traditional like rental income, you're buying a home and you're renting it out, or you have a duplex, you're living in one and renting out the other. I know there's a little bit of property management involved there.
Yeah. Right.
There's some work there, there's accounting, there's stuff you're doing. But I think by and large, that's just considered passive investment. Yeah. Any work you do on the property, it's like you're doing work on your own property. You should be allowed to do that. So right. I don't see a problem at all with long-term real estate investments on an H1B. That's passive.
So that is long-term rental. Now, what about Airbnb? Can you do Airbnb? Can you do short-term rentals? It's a daily transaction. You might have guest which is only staying for 1 night, 2 nights, which means you are actively managing who's coming in. You're actively letting them check in, check out. You're washing your sheets. So you are actively doing something. So that becomes more of an active income. But there is a way you can actually do it. Here's what our lawyer said.
That's where it gets a little dicey. Now you're like, okay, it's more short term, right? You know, the government's going to be looking at it like, okay, now you're actively managing like an operation, right? It's like a business. Yeah. But you can do it if you're not the one who's managing that operation. Yes. So what if you hand it over to a property manager, right? Yeah. You're going to lose 30 to 40% of your income probably, which is a bummer. Yeah.
But you're still building an asset. Yeah.
You're still building an asset and you're just kind of doing the short-term rental thing. And as long as you're not the one managing it, I think you can do it.
Just like you can rent the property, you can now also rent your cars. Yes, I'm not even kidding. There's an app called Turo. Basically, you can put your car, if your car fits the criteria, you can put it on there and you can let it rent to other people and they will pay. Now, can you do this legally or not? Here's what our lawyer said.
I would say probably risky. I don't know how it would ever come up, honestly. like how is like a government, USCIS going to like know by Googling your name, how are they going to come up with your Turo profile? Maybe they will. I don't know how that would work. Right. To know that you're actually doing this. But if you look at it just kind of in theory, right? If you break it down, you're renting out your car, like you're renting a property, you're actively managing the process to do that. You're probably communicating with the people. You're probably, cleaning the car, kind of turning it around, getting it ready for the next person, driving it to wherever garage you have to drop it off at or however that works. So you're kind of actively managing a business. So in theory, it would not be considered okay. Yeah. Right. No. So it's a little risky.
Right. And the only caveat which I've seen is also where people actually buy cars and they actually have someone who's managing, basically a property manager, but managing their cars and managing their app and profile where they do cleaning and all of that.
If they're able to do that and have somebody else kind of manage the process for them, then it shouldn't be a problem either.
Yeah. And same case, maintain the paper trail that you are not doing it. You have hired someone to do this.
Yeah.
All right. To summarize this property section, whether it be car or an apartment, if you're doing a short-term rental, you can basically hire property managers for your car or for your apartment and let them run the business. You are just an investor and you are taking the benefit. Maybe the property manager is getting 10% of the fees or you're hiring them on salary basis. Whatever it is, but they are managing the business. You're just collecting the money. That's the way to go. Let's talk about the burning question. Can you invest into stocks? Can you do the trading in the stocks? I'm going to give you a brief summary, but then you can hear it from the lawyer. You can invest in stock, but you cannot do day trading. Meaning you bought the Apple stock today for $100 and you sold it tomorrow for $110. If you keep doing this again and again, I think there's about certain limits to that trade. If you do like 3 trades or 4 trades in a week, I don't know, like you have to look up IRS website for it, then it becomes an actual active income instead of passive income. But if you invested into Apple stock today and then you took it out after 1 year, that is more like a passive income. More in detail, hear it from our immigration lawyer.
Okay, so it's like a spectrum almost, right?
Yeah.
At the far end of the okay spectrum is just regular delivery trading. At the far end of the problematic spectrum is day trading, right?
Yeah.
Because and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think most day traders spend their entire day doing that. And
Yeah.
if you're doing that, then are you complying with the terms of your H1B? Like you're supposed to be working full time for them, right? So if you're ever kind of questioned about that, you can get into a lot of trouble that way, right?
Yeah.
So is investing, like is trading okay in theory? Yes, it's okay in theory, but keep in mind what it might kind of indirectly do to like your current H1B, or what are the indirect ramifications of what you're doing, right?
Yeah.
It could call into question the viability of your underlying visa. And then in the middle is swing trading. It really, I guess, depends on the extent to which you're doing it, but I think in most cases it's okay. There's really not much more guidance on that.
Now, I know a lot of you are also interested in blockchain, cryptocurrency. Can you do the same? I think the same principle applies. You can invest but cannot day trade. But this was an interesting question. Somebody asked to my lawyer that, hey, what if I mine? Can I do mining of the blockchain or mining of the cryptocurrency? Just what our lawyer said.
There's a lot of maintenance. There's an initial kind of creation of a process or a product, and then there's active management of that results in some sort of compensation down the line. So if you look at it that way, then I think the answer is pretty self-evident. If there's a way for you to do it abroad, then maybe you can do it.
Last but not least, can you invest into retail stores? Can you buy an Indian grocery store or a food truck? Can you do that as an investor? This is what our lawyer said.
That's passive management. Like if they're not doing any work to kind of actively manage their investment or manage that entity or the enterprise, they can 100%. It's like investing in stocks. Like there's no difference, right?
Yeah.
So just make sure you keep a good paper trail about you not doing any work. Maybe it's part of like the note that you enter into with the entity, right? To confirm that you are not going to actively participate in any management responsibility. It's just purely passive on your part, so that you have like some paperwork to kind of cover you. But I don't see a problem with that at all.
And fun fact, I actually know some people who have gotten retail stores. I've also know people who have invested in motels. I also know people who actually have food trucks. They are just an investor. They don't manage the stuff. They don't manage the accounts, anything. They're just an investor and they have hired people to do all the work, which is pretty cool. I'm going to soon bring them onto our podcast. So subscribe if you haven't already. But that's it for this video. If you have any further question or maybe you have some more passive income ideas, let me know in the comment section. I'll make sure to ask the immigration lawyer whether they can do it or not and comment back or ask them in our next session. But till then, keep smiling and keep hustling. You gotta hustle every single day.